Brooks, I want to show you what I'm fighting with a little bit. I had this piece attached in place. I had to modify this corner a little bit, and I may end up having to do a little bit more modification. But I worked this piece in right here, and I felt like it was in pretty good shape until I started fitting the wood and doing the arc here at the wheelhouse. Ultimately, this has to be in an exact location, and the front has to be in an exact location to make an even radius that starts right here. So the radius starts here, and it crowns out here in the middle, and kind of rolls here, and does the same. If any of those are off, it's going to throw me way off. So this piece on the bottom here, this is the one for the other side. It's too straight down through here. And it being too straight, it has it coming out too far and then too far out here. It throws off everything. So I've had to go back and cut this piece back off, measure out all my straights on the other side of where I was at, and I've shrank this a little bit more, which turned it. And it got from here to here in the exact location. But then this piece is kind of the same way. This has to have the peak of this radius needs to be about right here. And I've got that in this part of it, but out here it's not. So I'm going to have to cut this corner loose and round all this and put the radius in that, which is going to change this a little bit. It's pretty complex and time consuming moving this stuff. It's great to have these parts to start with because we had nothing, but get them to fit just right. I could put these in there just like they were and roll on, and maybe most people wouldn't notice it, but it doesn't have that 50s look roundness. Like this piece, when I put it in, it just didn't look right. I mean, it was in there, but it was just too flat and straight. Once I put those few little bends in there and put it back on there, it was just almost instant. You could see it. It's just what it needed. So I decided to just go ahead and cut it back out, and I'm going to work on this end and get all this a nice smooth radius. And you'll see when I get done with your car how good this is going to look. But it's just fighting me tooth and nail. I was hoping once I come around the side with these parts, I could just start buttoning it up, putting it on there. But every piece is having to be adjusted, modified, and fit. And I don't have any references. The other side's all wrecked and rusted out down through there. This side's all wrecked and rusted out down through here. The wood is inconsistent. So there's no reference point. I've just got to eyeball make the side of this car, and that's tough. But I'll get it. But I just want to show you what I'm doing here. Still backing up a little bit. I ended up just cutting that piece back off because it's just not working. I want to show you what I've got. So from here to here, I've put the same arc that's in the other side. The bottom of that car on the other side is wrecked and smashed, but up on this rail right under here, I've got one little spot that's not been damaged, and that's what I'm building all this off of. I've took a measurement of my straights and the amount of arch it has in it, and then I've translated it right into this piece. You can see where I've marked it and shrunk it and stuff. And in doing so, I've got a nice little arch in that. I don't see if you can see that in the camera. But when it gets back out to here, all this it doesn't have enough in it. So I've had to straighten out that lip, and I put that in my shrinker, and I've been shrinking down that lip, and it's been turning it. So at the bottom, I've got a little bit of a turn on it, but not as much as I need. This backbone in it, this curve in it is really holding it. So, but I'm going to stop working on that end of it and try to get the top end of it, and then maybe if I can turn it a little bit, I can tame all this down without doing a whole lot. I've had to split it in the end because I've got to turn the end of this. So when you put this in a straight edge against this, where I put this radius in it, but up here at the top, you can see it's still touching. So it's just flat from there on out. So I've got to turn this whole corner, and the only way to turn that corner is to shrink this area, and I don't have a good way to shrink that area other than to split it. And in splitting it, I'll be able to turn that, and I'm going to make this piece just like the other side, and then I'll go back to going around. Kind of a pain in the butt, but at least I know what I got to do on the other side. So I shrank this to match the other side, so this piece was pretty straight, and I showed you that. And I put a little radius in that, then I sliced it and put a little radius in this. and it brings this whole radius around it, and that's how it's supposed to be. It was just looking too flat and straight. Then this one here, it come out a little bit, and I stretched it just a little bit to turn it a little bit. And then right here, it was wrecked all the way down through, and this was all bent in. So I had to raise this all the way down through here a little bit to follow the wood, and then straighten all that, and then push all that back out without, keeping it straight, and then transition that into this piece. So I had to put a little bit of radius in this. And then that's what I'm going to do right here. This actually needs to be a little forward, so I'm going to change it into this. But when I get done with all this, it's going to be nice and smooth. But it's extremely complex because I can't really weld with the wood here, so I have to set a piece in here and come up with a way to fasten it enough to get the wood off, to make movements on it, and then put all of it back together and get it in place. Or if I have to modify it or move it or whatever, and then back and forth. But yeah, you have to do it several times. This piece was a booger because I had to raise this landing all the way down through here. And the only way I could do it was mock it up, move the wood, and back and forth, back and forth. And over here on this corner, this piece, it was turned just a little more, so it was making it come out right here. And I've got this following the wood down through here. So I actually sliced it loose and moved it in, and then cut this corner off. And then I will work this back in so it's a nice plane down through there. And then when you look at the back of the truck, it's just nice and round instead of coming down and being flat, kind of like those panels were. It's gonna really look nice. And then I get all this figured out on this side. That's how I'll just go ahead and do the other side. I'll just go automatically cut it and go ahead and do the shrinking and do all that. And then once I get back around the front here, this is gonna look sweet. I'm leaving enough room to be able to whittle the wood down to match it all the way around, and I'm leaving enough wood out so that the wood will be the outermost surface when you look down the side of it. I know it don't sound like much, but it'll be a real cool look if the metal comes out and then the wood comes on out on that radius and just crest, it's really going to look good. So I'm setting the wood up to that depth as well, so I'll be able to sculpt the wood back to this. It's going to be sweet.